Hi everybody and welcome to a deck tech video for Grixis Pirates with Malcom and Smasher. Smasher is basically their 4-color identity. With us today we have Sumeme, who's been building this deck. Welcome!
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm Sumeme, also known as P-Puff more recently a little bit, but yeah, I'm excited to talk about this deck with everyone.
Malcom, Pirate. How many pirates do we have in this deck?
So when I first started out the deck, I didn't know how many pirates to do, and the idea is definitely that we are actually a pirate tribal deck. We run a lot. So in the beginning, I just said, I'll put every pirate in the deck that has any sort of invasion that's cost 1 or 2. And ever since, I've been slowly cutting them down, and I'm trying to figure out what like the optimal density is. If you have too many, it's going to be cluttered. If you don't have enough, the combos we go for aren't going to work. So at the moment, I think I'm down to 14. If you're checking this list in a week or 2 from now, maybe it'll be 12, maybe I'll go back up to 15, we'll see. If more, hopefully Wizards will just print more really good pirates like Ragavan.
Yes.
Because every Ragavan that goes into the deck is a very happy slot.
It feels like they're actually making pirates really good recently. But the thing with Malcom is that you're kind of transforming almost every pirate into a almost Ragavan.
Yeah, that's how I like to think about it too.
Yeah, Lightning Rig Crew is gonna make 3 treasures, right?
Yeah, Lightning Rig Crew will make us 3 treasures. Since we have such a high density of 1 mana cost pirates, often if I get Lightning Rig Crew out early, Lightning Rig Crew is going to make me like 6 or 7 treasures. Yeah. And I'll cast an Ad Naus off that, I'll cast a Win Con, you know. Lightning Rig Crew is a monster. That's also one of the reasons I wanted to play a density of pirates, is just to really get it going. You can get some really cute stuff going on too. We'll talk about some of the Win Cons. There's so many, but you can get Curiosity on top of Lightning Rig Crew.
So is the main plan to basically use your pirates that will generate treasures with Malcom to cast this expensive Peer into the Abyss or Ad Naus?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the plans. Obviously, any Malcom list, our ideal game plan one is just, you know, shove Malcom, shove Glinthorn Buccaneer, and if we get Glinthorn Buccaneer to stick, then we win the game. So I like to think of Ad Naus and Peer into the Abyss kind of like our secondary win cons almost, but we are able to make so much mana with all of our pirates.
So with Glinthorn Buccaneer and Malcom, you go infinite by attacking with Glinthorn, pay 2, deal 3 damage, generate 3 treasures, use those treasures to activate again and deal not infinite damage, but you do equal to the deck, I guess.
Yeah, you do equal to your deck. There's only been a couple times where like the game has gone really long and I wasn't able to win immediately with Glinthorn, but you're going to effectively stack your hand with whatever's left in your deck too. So afterwards, when you stop going with Glinthorn, whatever opponent's left, you have like the perfect hand sculpted. So it's not a big deal. A lot of people don't realize about Glinthorn at first too is you don't even need that 2 mana to activate him when you go to combat. You can actually do it post damage. So if you can get Glinthorn to swing and Malcom to swing and that generates you the 2 treasures you need, you can then activate Glinthorn afterwards. So it's actually even more efficient than what you'd think.
This is actually the same trick as Nigella is doing. She connects and then still as she is attacking with all her creatures, you activate Nigella. This is literally the same thing. You also have a really cute way of tutoring for the Glinthorn with your Peer of Heroes, together with the high pirate tribal stuff here.
Pyre of Heroes is another reason I justify the pirate tribal. The first one, like we said, is the Lightning Rig Crew. Pyre is like a birthing pod for pirates. And it's some people saw it at first and thought it was a little bit like too weak or too unpowerful. Cheating out Glinthorn Buccaneer off a 2 CMC pirate is really strong because you can't counter it anymore, and most people don't run that much spot removal. So usually if I can Pyre a Glinthorn out, it's gonna win. And then we play a lot of 1-cost pirates, and then with Pyre, we can just always get out our Dockside Extortionist. Which is also just great. And then the next turn, we can then Pyre again Dockside into Glinthorn, or we can use Dockside Extortionist to do crazy stuff like cast our Ad Naus or whatever we're trying to do at the time. And also, another thing I should mention about the Changeling in particular is since it's a Changeling, it's not only a pirate, it's also a merfolk. You can actually use Pyre with the Changelings in the deck to get out Thassa's Oracle. And most people don't see that coming. Cool, and then cast your Demonic Consultation. You can win through Pyre that way.
That's cute. That's really cute. Yeah, people definitely miss that part.
They see it. They see, oh, it's a pirate. It's gonna make dockside. But then I'm like, oh, actually, it's a merfolk, and I'm gonna make Passes Oracle.
I'm guessing you're also playing the breach stuff as you are on Grixis colors here.
Yeah, we're also playing breach stuff. It's also something that we don't usually win with breach stuff, but it's in there, you know. What I like about this deck, and I feel like you build your decks very similarly sometimes, like your CSA list, is it kind of feels like a toolbox when you're running it sometimes. We have a lot of overlapping combos that do good stuff, and then I never feel like I can't win the game. Like if my Glinthorn fails, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I have all these backup ways of winning. Even if my like Glinthorn fails, then my Adnos fails, I'm like, I'm still fine. I have all these other things, you know, and
like you could just cast a breach and cast Adnos from your graveyard.
Yeah, or just bring back Glinthorn from the graveyard, or if we somehow draw into this combo, it happens sometimes. I've seen opening hands. I haven't pulled it off personally, but I've played games where somebody wins turn 1 because they had Brain Freeze, Lion Eyes, and Underworld in their opening hand, and you know, so it happens. It's not bad. Another card I definitely want to like kind of put a spotlight on is Magda.
Oh yeah, because you're generating a lot of treasures with this deck. And then with your Cloudstone Courier that you can fetch from Magda, you can then use Dockside Extortions to gain infinite mana. But I'm guessing you're finding Niv Mizzet Parun with your treasures.
Yeah, so Magda is another really fun little toolbox. So there is a very convoluted one-activated Magda win con in this deck. How it goes is we need to have Magda, and we need to have a 1 CMC Pirate,
you can
which is pretty often. So Magda gets Pyre, Pyre gets Dockside. Dockside needs to make enough treasures, or we have enough treasures to activate Magda again. Magda gets Curio, and then we just assemble Dockside Curio off of 1 Magda activation. And then following that, making infinite treasures, we can then activate Magda 1 more time to get our grinding station. And with infinite treasure ETBs, grinding station mills are in everyone's deck.
Clean.
Yeah, it's a little hard to get there, but it does it, and I pulled it off. So otherwise, if our treasures are locked down, Magda is also really good because we'll still be generating a bunch of treasures. Like if Collector Oof's in play, I've had games where I just have like 12 treasures sitting there because I'm still swinging. You might as well go to combat if you can. You have unblockable pirates or you have flying pirates. And also when Magda hits the field, I have 12 treasures or something. I can go get a Niv Mizzet. And Niv Mizzet can then sometimes win the game if I have Curiosity in hand. Or Niv Mizzet can help me blow up Collector Oof or help me blow up any other hate bear just by pinging him down. Because he's just such a versatile card, and I think he's just really good. So like I usually get him, kill the Oof, and then once Oof is dead, I'm back open again, and I have my treasures, and I'll go for the win. Curiosity is a card that definitely has a place in my heart. It does a lot of work in this deck. I also ran the other version of Curiosity early on, the 3-mana cost one.
Ophidian Eye.
Ophidian Eye. I ended up cutting that because it's kind of like a plan C, and it didn't feel quite good enough, but Curiosity feels good enough to me in almost any deck that's going to combat with blue. Because worst case scenario, I put it on Malcom, and I play 1 blue mana to draw 1 card. And it's kind of like, you know, like a brainstorm. It's a weird comparison, but then, you know, if it survives, next turn I'll draw another card, or I can stick it on Vial Smasher.
Yeah, it's a slow grind with Malcom. Definitely really good on Vial Smasher.
It's also, if for some reason we can't activate our treasures, again, talking about like Collector Oof, I've had games where I have a Collector Oof on, I add Nas. You can place down Glinthorn, put Curiosity on him, and then Glinthorn Curiosity, you go to your end step, you discard your hand, and it's another way of going off with Glinthorn through stacks pieces.
So for those that don't know this, that when you go to your discard phase, you discard your cards, but then Glinthorn triggers and deals damage, then your also triggers and draws cards. Because of this, the discard phase is refreshed, meaning you go not infinite, but you do damage equal to your deck size, basically.
And since it's a May ability, yeah, you don't deck yourself.
Yeah, Tandem Lookout actually kills you with this. Or
yes, Tandem Lookout does kill you. So that's why Curiosity and Ophidian Eye are definitely better. Ophidian Eye might go back in the list eventually. I'm just cutting it right now and testing out how it feels, but I had mixed feelings about it just because it costs 3. It's a little steep for that effect.
And also, you're not really winning with Glinthorn together with the Ophidian Eye Curiosity. That's like something that maybe happen. And the thing with Niv Mizzet Parun is that if you have Niv Mizzet Parun, you don't really need a Curiosity on it. You already have big dragon that is just taking over the game eventually. It's just
doing stuff, and it'll mid-range. And on that note, I guess I should talk about kind of why I like this deck being so versatile. Putting in the Pirates pirates maybe makes it slightly slower than just the turbo noseless, I'd say. But the mid-range of this deck really takes over the game. With the stuff like that we've talked about already, Niv Mizzet, Magda, etc. It grinds out so much better than a lot of other decks out there. You've seen it too. I played on stream. I remember the game where I had Magda out and I just started casting everything, and I didn't care that there were stacks pieces.
I'll just so much treasures.
Just keep getting treasures, make it Niv Mizzet, start killing things, and just wait till I get there. In some ways, it's not that much slower. I still have a lot of turn 2 wins, maybe like a little bit less consistently. But even like just turn 1, play a couple 1-drop pirates, turn 2 Malcome, make 2 treasures or something, ends up feeling really good usually.
But I really like how everything here is kind of flowing together. So you have a lot of pirates because your tribal, Hero of Heroes basically becomes stronger with the more tribal you have, including that Goblin Rig crew. But all of these pirates also helps you with those expensive Odd Nos and Peer into the Abyss strategies, so to say.
Yeah, I definitely can cast Peer into the Abyss easier because it's hard to like ritual into Peer into the Abyss. Ritualing into like Ad Nos is pretty easy, it's only 5, but 7, it gets hard. I can usually cast Peer into the Abyss turn 3 because I'll have enough pirate density. I'll make like 2 treasures turn 2, I'll make 3 more treasures turn 3, and I'll easily have 7 mana. So it is really good. And the other reason that having pirates is good is, like we mentioned, we had the Cloudstone Curio line. So you need a density of creatures to be able to actually bounce your creatures. If you don't have enough creatures, then you play Cloudstone Curio and you're like, oh, I guess nothing happens, you know?
Yeah, Malcom and Vial Smasher are pretty expensive, but some of your pirates are like 1 CMC, so that's clean and easy. Have you thought of a version that cuts ad nauseam? Because your mana production is really good here. You could be sitting and casting Nessa Halls and other big and stompy creatures as well that have huge card draw, like a Consecrated Sphinx, which would destroy the effect of your ad nauseam, but you still have Peer into the Abyss, and you still have so many different combos going for you. You have Breach, Glinthorn is a 1-card combo, your Demir, Tazza's Consult is there. Do you need Odd Nos?
Yeah, I've actually considered this myself too, and it's something I plan on testing in the future. I will say I've played like maybe like 50 or so games with this list, which is still a little low, but it's been giving good results, and Ad Nos hasn't impressed me. I will say that. So
I guess that is because the deck is already impressing you so much.
Yeah, like we have so many other ways of winning that just feel better usually. And Ad Nauseam, even though it's such a good card, it sometimes whiffs. And if it whiffs, you're at like, all of a sudden you're at like 5 life or something, and you couldn't win. And then you have all this pressure of everyone attacking you. You're just out of the game. Whereas if a lot of our other win cons whiff, like they get countered or something, we still have a lot of life. And it's fine. Another thing I will mention about the pirates, assuming Ad Nos is in the list that a lot of people don't think about, is usually when you're playing Ad Nos list, everyone targets you for your life total. It's the correct thing to do. You don't want them to have life. But if I have the extra 1-drop pirates, it allows me to have blockers. So I have more life in the long run a lot of times. Like somebody wants to swing their commander at me for, let's think about Kenrith, swing at me for 5. I can just chump block with my Deadeye Tracker and save that 5 life for my Ad Nauseam or for something else. But yeah, it's definitely something I'm considering, is cutting Ad Nos. Because we still already have the other one, like you said, the 7 mana cost one, which has never let me down. You know, if you draw half your deck, lose half your life. It doesn't matter what life pool you're at. You could be at 2, you go down to 1. And drawing half your deck is better than drawing Ad Nos, usually, because Ad Nos, we have a CMC of 1.27, so we're going to draw, I don't know, like, we'll say like 25 cards or something, right? Compared to drawing like 40 plus cards. It's,
big difference. So how has this deck been performing so far? You played 50-ish games. How does it flow in the current metagame? Like, this is somewhat the current metagame. You're playing Odd Nos, and Odd Nos is what everyone is trying to do at the moment.
Yeah, it's felt really good, to put it simply. I don't have an exact number, but I feel like I've had around a 30% win rate, like definitely higher than just like your standard 25. The deck, like I said, there's a lot of stacks I've been running into lately in the metagame. It seems like the metagame to me is like a lot of stacks, and then some decks that like leech off the stacks.
Yes.
And then random other stuff like me playing Pirate Tribal.
Yeah.
This deck loves Rule of Law. Every time I see somebody sit down and cast Rule of Law, I am super happy because it doesn't affect us very much compared to other decks. Because Glinthorn Buccaneer is a 1-card combo. That's our first line. You only have to cast 1 card. You know, you have your Malcome out, you cast Glinthorn, you win. Rule of Law doesn't stop that. Rule of Law doesn't really stop like Ad Nos really, because you Ad Nos at end step, and then on your turn you'll deal with the Rule of Law. Same thing of like Niv Mizzet or even Magda. Magda activations don't count as casting, so we can activate Magda multiple times if we want to through Rule of Law. It just doesn't hinder us very much at all.
I have a feeling that your card draw is pretty good as well, so eventually you can just sit there and just fuel card draw and fuel mana in treasures to your hand and then basically just explode with a Cycrypt or various things.
Exactly. Like there's been many games where there's so many stacks pieces that I can't even win, which is crazy because like, there's a collector oof, there's a Rule of Law, there's everything. I still just make so many treasures, make so many card draws. I just get there eventually.
Have you actually thought about adding Mayhem Devil to this deck as you're generating a lot of treasures?
We haven't talked about Mayhem Devil yet. The first thing I'll say is I've thought about adding it because it is really good. You have a lot of treasures and you can start blowing up people's permanents.
Yeah.
The other hand, seeing Mayhem Devil on my opponent's field is a nightmare. It is probably the most scary stacks piece for me. Like, I'd rather there be an oof than a Mayhem Devil usually, because like I still have my treasures, but now if I want to like use them, my Malcolm's gonna die, or my Glinthorn's gonna die, or all my 1/1 pirates are gonna start dying. It's a really hard to deal with this deck, I will say. You don't see it too often, but it is scary. I definitely do think that's a good idea though. It could go into the 99 and then just be an extra way of killing. It reminds me of another card I just added. It's the 4-drop that just came out that you can sacrifice treasures to get something -X/-X. I think it's Grim Hireling.
Thief, rogue, not a pirate, but whatever. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create 2 treasures. That looks like an interesting card for a deck. Definitely not in your Oddnos version.
It's in the list right now, actually. I'm testing it out. We'll see if it sticks or not. Mayhem Devil actually might be a cheaper alternative for doing a very similar thing. I actually might like it better now I think about it. But Grim Hireling's also good because it makes us even more treasures on top of Malcom making us treasures, which helps us with like Magda and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, Grim Hireling goes past Collector Roof. Mayhem Devil doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. Grim Hireling does go past Collector Roof while Mayhem Devil does not. So he lets us sacrifice our treasures even if we can't use them and start killing stuff.
Yeah.
And it lets us do it multiple times too, because it's not a tap ability. It's just a pay 1 black, sacrifice some treasures, kill something.
He is also generating treasures.
He generates treasures. You sacrifice treasures to kill stuff. I feel like with him on the board, I haven't tested him of not, but he's kind of like Niv Mizzet in a way that if he's there, he just takes over the game.
Wait, so if you have Malcom, a 1/1, and Grim Hireling play, you're gonna generate
4 treasures.
No more.
Is it 1 or more? It's 1 or more creatures.
Yes, whenever 1 or more creatures you deal combat damage to a player. Players are unique here.
Oh,
so if
players are unique.
Yeah, this is why Nayela can actually go infinite with this. So you attack at 2 different opponents. It's the same with Malcom. Like Malcom has literally close to the same text. You attack at different opponents with your pirates. Malcom triggers at each one of those opponents. This will also trigger at each of one of those opponents.
Yeah, so let's assume I have my unblockable pirate, a 1/1 flying pirate, and Malcom. If I swing that with Grim Hireling on the board, I'll make 10 treasures.
No, wait. You make 3 from Malcom, 9. You make
3
9.
Malcom, and then 9 treasures in 1 combat. And then I can sacrifice those treasures to give stuff -X/-X or cast whatever I want. So if he hits the board, it is really scary.
I don't remember the name of that black enchant anymore, but it almost starts to feel like a meme or like a... Like
the one if you have like 10 or more treasures, you win?
Yeah, what is it? Reveling Riches or something?
I think so.
It's the most casual card you can ever find, but this is almost like, let's try it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing casual, Grim Hireling will get you to Revel in Riches pretty fast, that's for sure.
So what you kind of have here is a turbo grixis deck with all the turbo grixis stuff that can win really fast. That can also play really well versus a lot of different stacks, rule of law decks that are trying to shut this down. But you also have a lot of backup plans because all of your grixis combo kind of layer into each other as they normally do. And you have a decent mid-range game plan where you can sit and grind as well. That feels really strong.
And I recommend anyone try it out and pilot it for sure. It's a blast to play too. It's really strong, and just having a deck that can go to combat is so rare in cEDH. I'm trying to bring combat to cEDH here.
You know, I think the coolest thing, the thing with me is that you get to play Pirate Tribal actually in cEDH.
You also get to play a tribal deck in cEDH, and you're still competing. You're not like doing it for the meme. Like the tribal I feel is justified in this deck. It actually is really good.
Now, if you want to take a look at exactly how Sumeme have been building this deck, as always, in the description below of this video, there's a link to his Mox field. But if people wanna talk to you or ask questions more in detail about this deck and your experience with it, is there a place where they can reach you?
Yeah, so I'm on Discord. My username there is Sumeme as well. The easiest way is probably to go through the cEDH Discord, cEDH TV Discord. I'll be there, and you can contact me through there. So definitely join in that Discord in general. You could interact with Mons, you can interact with me, you can interact with a bunch of other cool cEDH players. I'm always happy to talk about the deck. Yeah, see y'all. Thanks for watching, and feel free to contact me.
Take care, guys. That's it for us. Bye. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and you wanna support me, feel free to share my videos or even checking out my Patreon page. Also, purchasing cards from the TCG Players website using the affiliate link in the description below of the video will also help the channel grow. So a big thank you to all of you.